What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and I'm hoping you're having a really fantastic Halloween this year. And as has been the tradition for the past 2 years, I did a special for Halloween where I focused on my various Mego figures. And this year I'm going to cover both monsters and aliens. So I picked out 12 figures from my collection to feature in this particular video. Most of them are still in the package, but I do have some loose examples that I'm going to show you as well, some variations. So we'll take a look at those too. So we'll start over here with Nosferatu. We're going to cover the monsters first, and then in the second part of the video, we'll cover some of the aliens. So Nosferatu was definitely one of my favorites that they did. I believe these came out in either Wave 4 or Wave 5 of the Mego releases. And this is when they went to a broader distribution. So these were no longer Target exclusives like they were beginning in 2018. So you could buy these from multiple different online retailers, and I believe some brick and mortar stores had them as well. So Nosferatu just knocked it out of the park in terms of the head sculpt, the outfit, everything about it was really fantastic. I'd say the only thing that's lackluster about this is the packaging. The packaging is kind of bland, but at the same time, because the figure itself is so incredible, just really well executed, it really doesn't bother me the fact that the packaging is not too much to talk about. But really fantastic figure, definitely one of my favorites. Actually, these first three that I'm going to talk about all came in that single wave. So that particular wave of figures was really just overly spectacular in terms of memorable pieces. So the Bela Lugosi Dracula was actually a reissue from the 2018 release. So this was originally a Target exclusive. The original version had sort of a grayish, kind of silvery liner to the cape. And so they changed it up and did a red liner and also some different artwork on the packaging as well. So packaging looks really spectacular on this one. Really excited to have this, and the red liner really makes this thing pop. So for me, this is the definitive version of Bela Lugosi Dracula. I think the head sculpt looks great. Outfit looks really fantastic as well. So very happy to have this particular version of Dracula. And also in that wave was the Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy Krueger figure. And once again, really fantastic on the head sculpt. Definitely a memorable figure, and definitely one that I very much appreciate having in my collection. He does come with his hat as well. So, and really fantastic artwork on this too. So you can see a really big picture of Freddy here on the back. So looking really scary, but also very funny. There was a comedy element to the Nightmare on Elm Street films, which was kind of cool. And so very excited to have that. Next up, we got the Face of the Screaming Werewolf, and this was the 2018 release. So this was a Target exclusive, and it still remains my favorite version of the werewolf that they've done. And I really just love it in terms of the head sculpt and everything. Looks really great, and I like this particular outfit as well. They also did sort of almost the Planet of the Apes style hands with the sort of fur on them, so really cool. And I did pick up the variant of this that came out later on, and I actually customized it, so I can show you that loose. So what I did was I took that reissue, which was done in sort of like a darker plastic, and then outfitted him with the clothing from Richie Cunningham. So, which turned it into sort of like a I was a teenage werewolf kind of figure. So, I really like that. Pretty easy custom to make. And this was not my idea, by the way. I'd seen other people do this online. So, I pretty much just copied the same technique. So, pretty simple. Just a swap out of the clothing, and all of a sudden you got something unique and original. So very cool. Okay, next up we got the creature from the Black Lagoon, and another really spectacular action figure from Mego. And I think they just sort of knocked it out of the park in terms of the sculpting and the overall use of material to create the illusion of scales and so forth on this. And on the back of the package, you can see some artwork from the actual film. And I do have a loose example of this because they did several different versions. So they did this black and white version, which I picked up fairly recently, and really fantastic. So I can give you a much more detailed look at the outfit and the sculpting of the back of the head and everything. And this one also included these unique hands and also unique feet. So really just incredible, and very happy to have a loose example of this in my collection too. I believe they did not only this black and white version, but I think there was like a darker green version as well. So quite a few variations out there of the creature from the Black Lagoon. So, but any one of them will be a fantastic addition to any Mego collection. Now, next up, we got Medusa, and this is also a fairly recent addition to my collection. My main reason for picking this up was the spectacular head sculpt. Really just looks amazing. That sort of like gold detail on the top of the snake's heads, and just the overall expression on the face of the figure looks really fantastic. Not much to say about the outfit on this figure. Pretty plain, but that head sculpt makes up for anything that's lackluster about that. Really love the artwork on this one too. Really looks really fantastic in terms of the overall presentation of the packaging. That's also an unlicensed figure, so they didn't have to pay any licensing fee to actually do that one. Next up, we got the Kanamit from the Twilight Zone episode, To Serve Man, and another really memorable and fantastic figure. Really amazing on the head sculpt, and the outfit looks really cool as well. They also included the book, and on the back of the package, you can see some really spectacular kind of like collage style artwork on the back of this one. So really great figure. And although this is categorized as horror, I'm including it as an alien because we are getting into this back section of the review where we will be transitioning over to talking about aliens. So one of the ones that was released in the Target exclusive ones was the Gorn from Star Trek, and I missed out on picking up the original version of this, but they thankfully re-released it with the glow-in-the-dark accents, and it is pretty consistent overall with the original release. The only difference is those glow-in-the-dark things show up when you turn off the lights. But other than that, pretty much a straight-up reissue of the same figure, and looking really spectacular. Definitely one of the best aliens that they did for the Star Trek line. And on the back of the package, you can see what the Gorn actually looks like in that particular episode of the original series. So very cool to have that. And then moving into the back row, we got the last grouping of aliens. And here you can see this is Quark. So this is a character from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And he is, of course, a Ferengi. And this is the more elaborate version of him. They actually released a variant with a much more plain-looking outfit. So this was the Topps exclusive one, which I was able to order from. ZLC Collectibles actually had a bunch of these. So I was able to pick up Quark and several others of the Topps exclusives. So really looks great. Really love the head sculpt on this. So very cool to have a version of Quark. Next up, we got Saru. This is the only figure that I've collected from Star Trek Discovery. That show was somewhat lackluster for me. There were certain aspects of it that I liked, and one of those aspects was the Saru character, probably one of the most unique and interesting characters that they've done for Star Trek recently. So, and I think they did a really good job in terms of rendering out the head sculpt, and the details on the uniform look really good as well. And I like how they uniquely created these boots, so you get that sort of different kind of foot arrangement, which Saru has. Makes him quite a bit taller than other characters as well. So very cool figure. And on the back of the package, you can see what Saru actually looks like standing on the bridge of Discovery. So very cool character, and very happy to have a version of him in my collection. And next up, we got one of the more familiar aliens. So this is Lieutenant Worf, and I did some customizing to this because this was the reissued version that came in this uniform. So what I did is I borrowed a uniform from an extra version of Geordi LaForge and was able to customize this. So I've actually had this out of the package, and I can show you what it looks like. So I can give you a close-up detail on the head sculpt and so forth, so you can see what that looks like. Really amazing job. Very much looks like Michael Dorn as he portrayed Lieutenant Worf in that really elaborate makeup, which must have been a pain to put on for each episode of the series. But overall, the look of the character looks really spectacular, and he was definitely one of my favorites from that particular series. So very happy to have a version of Lieutenant Worf. And last but not least, we got the Andorian over here. And this one was actually issued quite a bit earlier, prior to Mego's reintroduction to the mass market in 2018. So this one was done as a Diamond Select exclusive, and they did a number of different Star Trek figures at the time. So you can see the date on this was, these were previewing ones that were done in 2008. So I'm guessing this was probably 2007 or around that time period. And really spectacular reproductions of the original Star Trek figures, and the packaging also reflects the original look for the Mego line. So I understand that Mego might be returning to a packaging style similar to this at some point in the future. I know, like, at one of the conventions recently, they previewed a series that was going to have artwork that was similar to this. So we'll see if that actually pans out. I know sometimes they announce things and then they don't manifest themselves necessarily. But this is very much a true to form reproduction of the original Andorian figure that was done back in the 1970s. So very happy to have this in my collection. And I think they will be releasing, or they had announced originally going to do a new version of the Andorian, but we haven't seen that yet. Hopefully sometime next year that'll show up, and I will review that on the channel. So overall, looks really great, and very happy to have a version of the Andorian in my collection. That's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos about Mego action figures in the future, think about subscribing to my channel, because I will be covering more of this kind of material in future videos. Until next time, I hope you're having a great day and a great Halloween. Thanks for watching.